Okay, hello. What I'm going to go through now is I'm going to use Geomagix X to process the CubePen data that we collected a couple of weeks ago. And what I want to start with is I'm going to do two videos on this. One, I'll use Geomagix X to do most of the processing and then export to an X. And then the second video I'll do is I will export this data right away and then do most of the processing in NX. Okay, so let's kind of do the work in Geomagic to start. So when you open the XRL file that we took, you get all of the data that we've collected. And as I look at this particular set of data, I'm noticing that there's some what we were calling glitches that we collected during this. So this is when we do a bit of scanning and one of the scanner arm angles goes out of its volume or its limits, and then the processing of the data kind of gets messy. So you can see here this set of data really should probably be a little bit over to the right here. So this data here we'd like to get rid of right away. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're kind of working here. We've got our scan data kind of sitting over here in the browser area. So what we'll do, we'll come into the graphics area, we'll do a single right click, filter, and then we're going to filter by the cloud, so the mesh. And then we're going to select, for example, this mesh here. And we're going to hit delete. And so that will get rid of the entire scan without having to go in and mess around. Okay, so again, if I select this one, for example, I can take a look at that when I delete that, and that seems to be a lot better. These two scans here, I can get rid of that data. And this one here. Okay, so it's already cleaning up fairly well already. Let's see if I can get rid of this scan. If I do I lose some of the valid points? I do lose a little bit, but not too much. So I'm going to leave that. And so I just kind of carry on this way for a while, just trying to make sure that one, let's say I don't want to lose that one. Okay, so we'll retain this data. This data here, I don't need that. So I can lose that scan. This one, not very useful either. Okay. And then this one here, let's say, don't want that one. Okay, so I'm kind of left with three kind of sets of scans that I would like to keep together. Now I need to clean some of these up, but what I want to do now is select individual parts. So again, anywhere in the graphics area, I do a single right click and I change my filter to, I believe it's either faces or vertices. Let me try the vertices again. And so for example, I come in here and I want to lose all of this data. And yeah, that one, that's the version. Okay, so I then go in and I clean up the messy vertices that I don't need. Again, over here. Now sometimes you can come over here and I notice I can exclude if I get the right there. I'll try to take all of these that way, but for some reason the selector doesn't select all of the ones like depth wise, and so I wind up having to do this like many times, and it's kind of counterproductive. So then we have to come from the top down, which is unfortunate, but that seems to be more effective in getting all of the points that I want to get rid of faster. So it's a bit unfortunate that I won't delete that way, but okay. So anyway, so I can clean up now these points, and I'll just sort of keep going at it here as best I can. Whoops. There we go. And here, let's take all of these. Etc. Okay, so let me continue doing this. I'll pause the video now and I'll show you the final product. Okay, so it took me a couple of minutes there, but I've got the three sort of sets of scans that I want to now proceed further with. So I've mostly gotten all of the points that I don't want. I just kind of gave up because there's just a few little ones here, for example, that are there, but for the most part it's pretty much cleaned up. Okay, so when we're happy with the cleanup here, the next thing then is to get all of these aligned. So the first step is to first of all merge these. So we come up here to the over here. We want to go to the home area, and I want to do a merge, which is where now? Not here. Okay, let's go. No, all. Okay. And I want to do a merge. So if I go polygons, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to merge these together. So when I click on merge, I get this kind of different set of menus that come up. So what I'll do is I'll first of all highlight these. These are the a set of scans I want to merge together. And make sure if you go into more options, remove the original data and just give me a single merged scan. So I'll do that. So I click OK. All right, so you can see these have now all been merged into a single scan. This scan here, this thing called stroke, on the lower half, I usually just delete those if you get those. I'm not sure what those are. Okay, let's do another merge. Again, this time I'm going to merge these together. And I'll take those. Perfect. And then last, I'm going to merge these scans together. Okay, so now I've got 1, 2, 3 scans to be merged. Okay, so let's blank all of them out, and we'll start with the first one. And we want to, first of all, create some geometric entities in order to do the alignment. So the way we're going to do that is we go over here to this region tab, and then click on auto segment. And the auto segment, we're going to auto segment this set of scans, or this merge scan. And what it's going to do is trying to pick out primitive, best fit primitive geometry, like cylinders and cones and etc., planes. Okay, so we're going to click, we've chosen our scans to do auto segment, and we click OK. Okay, so you notice what it's done here is it's taken different regions and it's colored them according to, so you'll see here different areas where it's labeled them as primitives. Okay, so we're going to use those to create vectors, datum objects that we're going to use to do the alignment. Now, so the first thing we do is we're going to create a vector, and we want to find a cylinder axis. So that's the method here. And we're going to choose this cylinder here to do our best fit. And it will go off and create a vector, which looks, one thing to check is just to sort of see that it's kind of centered. Sometimes the geometry, especially with the misglitched geometry, the vector is kind of off, but this one seems fine, relatively central. Let's create another vector. This time we'll find a cone axis. So then we come in here and these cones on the side, so we'll choose this cone. Okay, let's use that one. And you see here it's created a second vector. Let's even choose maybe a perpendicular one. And here we have multiple cones, I believe, yes. There's another cone. There's yet another one. And we'll get the best fit of all of those. Okay, so let's choose. Oh, we don't we don't need this one. Wait a sec. Let me cancel here. So let's do that again. Vector. Let's choose that set of cones. There we go. And so it's chosen all the cones, and then we click OK for that, and it's created a vector number 3. Okay, then the last thing we'll do in order to do this alignment is we'll create a point. And the point method we're going to use is intersecting two of the lines that we've created. And so I use the center vector that we created. And then let's see this vector number 3. Oops, vector number 3. There. And then you can sort of see this orange point that it's going to create. Now, they didn't quite intersect, but that's okay. The software kind of went ahead and did it anyway. And it looks pretty good. It looks fairly close to the center. So let's take that. Okay. So then what we do is we go to the interactive alignment. Okay, so what are we aligning? Let's choose our set of scans here. And then click on Next. Okay, so then it sort of splits the screen. And this can be kind of weird. I must admit I didn't get this for a while. So what we're choosing here is we're make sure we have the XY for the moving. So all of these scans here, the merge scans, we're going to move this into the origin. And then we're going to move each of the different sets of scans all to the same space. So the first thing we want to do is take this, use this position, and then on the left-hand side, we're going to zoom in and select that point. Okay, and we're going to move that. The target is the origin. Okay? So you can see there then on the right-hand side, there's my coordinate axes, and that point has been moved to the origin. Okay, so then the next thing we want to do is select the z-axis. And on this left-hand side, we want to choose the axis of the our CubePen. Okay, and we can, like in NX, we can reverse that. And so we have now our z-axis aligned. And then let's choose the x-axis. And then here we're going to choose, let's say, vector number 2. As our alignment. Okay, so there's the 3 parts of it. Okay, so then we click OK. So there's one scan. Let's turn on a second scan. Kind of zoom out. Okay, so again, we repeat this. We go auto segment. What are the scans? We're going to choose that. Okay, and then we go through the process again. Oh, sorry, not a point. Discard. We're going to create a vector. Again, fitting a cylinder axis to that cylinder. Clicking OK. We'll create a second vector. Again, using the fit a cone axis. Okay, let's use those two conic surfaces and click OK. And maybe a perpendicular one here. Let's create another one. Okay, let's use those two. Oh, damn, just a second here. Discard. Let's go again, vector, fitting the cone axis. And we're going to use cone and cone. So we've got two cones chosen here. Okay. And let's click OK to that. Okay, so we've got the two vectors. Let's now create our point by intersecting two lines, choosing vector number 4, and then let's say vector number 6. Sorry, vector number 6. And that seems pretty good. So let's take that. Okay, and then let's go ahead and do our alignment. Selecting these, clicking next. Position, and we're going to choose that point. Okay, and then the z-axis, aligning the z-axis, and we're going to, you see here, it's looking the wrong way, so we're going to turn that around, and then let's, whoops, try that again, go back. And reverse. Okay, then we come over here. Let's zoom in. Okay, and then let's try our x-axis. Let's first, you can try different things here. So you'll notice here in the left side, we could reverse this. And so, you know, sometimes it's not symmetrical. That looks a little bit better. So let's take that one, and then we click OK. So now we have two done. Let's turn on our third one, and this one was good to include because this one includes the top of the cube, so that's always good. Okay, so let's again repeat the process. We're going to go to region, auto segment. Whoops, these ones, and click OK. Okay, then we go back home. Let's do a vector, choosing a cylinder axis. Here's our cylinder. Okay. Let's do again a vector, finding a cone axis. Okay, let's do that. So 3 cones there. And let's choose this perpendicular one, let's say. Okay, and let's do that. Okay, can I get rid of that one? I can't. I have to get rid of them all. Okay, so let's do that again. There we go. So I've just got the 2 cone fits, and I create a vector out of that. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's create lastly our point by intersecting two lines, choosing vector 7, let's say, and vector 9, and kind of looking in there. Vector 7. Which one is vector 7? Okay, yeah, that's vector 7. Okay, and then let's intersect that with vector 8. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's take that one. Okay, and then we go back to interactive alignment, and we're going to choose this one to move. And the position, we're going to choose 0.3, and then we're going to choose z-axis, and then we're going to choose vector 7, and we're going to reverse it. And then for our x-axis, let's start with this vector 8 here. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't shoot. I forgot to switch here. Let's go back to vector 7 and reverse that. Then I choose vector x-axis. Okay, and let's first of all zoom in here. Okay, so I can reverse, and I don't know if that looks a bit better. So let's choose that. There we go. Okay, now here I see I still have some more, maybe some cleanup to do. So we could attempt to do this a bit more. Okay, so that seems to be a bit better. So yeah, you could clean this up, but basically this is the idea here. So now we have that. Let's file, save as, and then I recommend saving that as a different spot, in a different spot. Let's go here. Sorry, as a different name. So I don't want to save it on my stick here. I'm going to choose, let's see, not here. Let's go here. 765, this semester. Let's choose this one, and let's choose underscore demo, for example. Okay, and then the last thing we want to do is get this ready to export. So we'll go File, Export, and we'll choose what we want to export. So that's what we want. And here we want to choose the ASCII file, and it puts in a really dumb name. It just puts in all of these scans. Let's just delete all of that and then insert, let's say, a group 5, whatever it was. Something like this. Okay, and then we hit save. Perfect. And then, so then the next thing I'll show you is then the processing in NX. So we have already now a set of points ready to go in NX. So I'll show you that in a separate video. Okay? Thanks for watching.